This is Buffalo Campday Recap. I'm Thad Brown, joined by AJ Feldman. Day 3 for the Bills now all set after week 1, 2 here at Fisher is done. And AJ, this really wasn't a spectacular day at camp. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was just a pretty solid. The Bills got practicing, got work done. Things got practiced and improved on, allegedly. I think the highlight of the day was towards the end of practice, the first big Josh Allen to Stefon Diggs connection. It was probably about a 45-yard bomb. Cam Lewis and Balin Spector were the two closest defenders. I don't think Balin Spector is supposed to be taking Stefon Diggs straight down the field. But the point is that it wasn't against the first team defense, not that it mattered. This was the type of play, it was just perfection. The ball exactly where it needed to be. And, you know, Diggs and Allen have looked like Diggs and Allen you think would look at camp so far. They've been very good. And this was just the latest example. Why? But really just maybe the only serious highlight in a camp that in a camp practice didn't have a ton of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, you know, we always say to start off training camp, the defense has an advantage over the offense. And the only outlier so far in that has been Allen to Diggs.
Right.
They've looked midseason form. They're both in elite form right now. They're both looking good. And like you said, it was just kind of a day of practice. You know, we've been here for 3 days. It's a little bit hot out. Mm-hmm. There's still no pads on, so we're just kind of going through the motions a little bit at this point. Obviously, they're doing a lot of work, but it's just another day of camp, and things went good. No injuries, so a successful day for everybody.
Check that box every single time. Tyler Bass did hit a 57-yard field goal. Yep. It looked good in his kicking practice, first real main field goal practice we've seen. So
room to spare on the 57-yard field goal.
Yeah, it would have made it from 65. There was one drill that we saw for the first time in camp that we see every year. On one half of the field, you had wide receivers going against defensive backs. On the other half, you had running backs and tight ends going against linebackers and safeties. You had one, I had the other. You go first, running down what happened with wide-out DB drill.
A couple of really nice plays right off the bat. Khalil Shakir, a nice contested catch over the middle of Taron Johnson. Obviously, a great battle in the slot there. Shakir won that battle. The main play of the day, Justin Shorter. It was kind of a deep corner route near the pylon, just before the end zone, going up against Dane Jackson. I don't know who threw the ball. We thought it might have been Barkley. None of us really were paying attention to that part of it, but
it wasn't Kyle Allen. He was on my field.
Yeah. So corner route near the end zone, boxes out Dane. It comes in a little bit low, really in a great spot, a spot only he could catch it, and he did. Came down with it. Let Dane Jackson know that he came down with it too, so that was a nice moment in one-on-ones there.
So he kind of mossed him a little bit there is what happened.
Well, it's a different type of moss. He maybe sunned him a little bit, not exactly a moss.
I got you.
But he definitely got the best of him there.
I like that we've redefined the levels of mossing
yes.
in the last 2 seconds. All right, for running back, tight end, safety, linebacker drill, really dominated by the defense. Terrell Dotson had 2 reps and just owned them both. The young guys who people want to see, James Cook and Dalton Kincaid, on their first rep, they each won the rep. Neither route was super impressive. They were both short, flat routes, but both guys dropped their first pass. Now, both guys came back with nice plays. James Cook did what I think is the thing that he is best suited for in the NFL, which is stop and go. I mean, when that guy's going forward and makes a cut, he doesn't decelerate once he's already got ahead of steam. So it was against Terrell Bernard. He went about 5 yards straight down the field, hesitated, and then was just gone. And I mean, open by 3 yards. And Kincaid on his second rep, it was a longer pattern. And one thing we have to point out with these drills, because it's one-on-one pass pattern stuff, it's advantage offense because they get to use, it's one guy with the whole field to operate to get open. So it tends to be easy. But, we've talked about, and I think you've probably heard at home, how smooth Dalton Kincaid looks. This was a great example. He was in control. It was maybe a second or third, move or stem spot where he got open and just looked really good, getting there and then made the catch the second time. So, but again, mostly it was dominated by the defense. The one defensive player other than Bernard against James Cook who really got embarrassed was Dorian Williams, the rookie, up against Darrington Evans. Evans just another hesitation and go, and Williams was 3 yards behind. So, but again, mostly a defensive drill there for the things that I saw.
A couple more things. Trent Sherfield had a couple nice plays in the one-on-one. Nothing too spectacular, but I wrote his name down twice. Mm-hmm. And Trey White had some good coverage. And
Trey White things?
Yeah, he did some Trey White things.
All right, let's talk about the substitutions, the rotations in terms of the starter battles today. Not much different there. Things are, progressing as they have the first 2 days. Balin Spector was the number one guy at middle linebacker for most of the day today. And it's, seems like every day there's been a different guy. It was Terrell Dotson day one, Terrell Bernard, mostly day two, and today it was Spector. And nothing spectacular from him. I thought he was generally solid. Again, even though he was the guy involved in the Stefon Diggs deep play, that's not something I'm going to put on a middle linebacker to cover. Beyond that, at offensive guard, Ryan Bates started the first team drill. It was Osiris Torrance through the middle of the day. And then at the end of the day, the Bills did separate, doing a drive the field drill. First team on one field, second team on another field. For that drill was Bates, not Osiris Torrance, who played with Josh Allen. So about a 50-50 split there, maybe a little bit leaning towards Torrance. And then a defensive back, it's been more of the same. Mostly Dane Jackson. Christian Benford's the next guy up in many cases. And Kyer Elam not really getting an opportunity with the first team so far.
Yeah, Spector, he did have a pretty good play in the first team drills. He was right in a good position to get an interception. It did go right through his hands, so a great replacement for Tremaine Edmonds, maybe.
Wow. Guys do play defense for a reason, though.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. But no, he held his own. I mean, and the last time we talked about this, we were wondering if maybe Tyrell Dotson had this thing not on lock, but
his to lose.
Yeah, his to lose. Von Miller was saying similar things, and that might be the case. They might be giving everybody some runs, and then once we get the pads on, then we might actually see what they're trying to do here. But I think, as opposed to 2 days ago, it does seem more open than we might have assumed.
Absolutely, because I didn't think Balin Spector was getting a sniff. I thought this was a three-man competition with the rookie Williams, Bernard, and Terrell Dotson. I'm surprised to see Spector in there a little. The more you think about it, none of the other three guys have such a resume that you would think, oh, well, this is probably going to be the guy who gets it. So to give Spector a look, I don't think is crazy, but I would be, to me, he's still the fourth man of the group who I think would be most likely to end up with the number one job, but he did get run today.
I did hear Brandon Bean on One Bills Live saying that they were going to stick Williams more at the will to start off. They were kind of toying with that in rookie camp, OTAs. I think they're going to try and keep him more in that Milano role to start.
And that's where he was a lot today.
Yeah.
And Terrell Bernard, though, was the number one backup for Milano today at the will. So yeah, maybe it is now a three-man job with Williams on the outside. But I mean, I don't want to get too deep down this rabbit hole. But if you're sitting here with the guy you just drafted in the third round and you have an open spot in the middle and he played middle in college and you think he's going to be the backup at the will, what did you use that third round pick for? Which is where we were with this draft pick back in May when it happened. But again, I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole.
That's kind of what we said last year too when
Bernard.
Yeah,
exactly. So Pete and repeat for the Bills here with third round draft picks. All right, let's move on. The safeties were the guys who met with the media today. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Both guys, look, they're great talkers, fascinating to, converse with on any occasion. Micah Hyde, really interesting today. The main takeaway from him is that A and B and C, the neck is fully healthy. There is zero concern about him going into this season. He did point out that he was ready to go last year and would have played the AFC Championship if the Bills had gotten that far. But he did say that it was probably better for him that he had 4 months or had the full time to recover with the injury and get all the way back. He is excited to get pads on Monday. He said, I'm, quote, geeked for game number 1 Monday night against the Jets to open the season. So, look, he could not be more excited. And, I think these guys, no matter what year you are, what position you are, everybody's excited to play the season to get going. But it feels like there's a different level for Hyde, especially because he didn't play hardly at all last year.
And I think that's a good point, the fact that he was preparing to play in that AFC Championship game. A lot of the times you wonder with these guys coming back from injury, that first hit, that first game, it's always kind of a little trepidation, especially with a serious injury such as the neck. I think maybe the fact that he was preparing to play in that game maybe almost made this offseason feel like a normal offseason in that he was basically in game mode at the end of the season. So now he's kind of already done the recovery stuff.
And it's just getting back, starting over where you would normally be had you been healthy the year before. With Poyer, there was a little bit of talk about there was a good possibility or a good chance that he could have been somewhere else next year, how fortunate he feels. I mean, the point was brought up that, if you go back to last December, Micah Hyde had a serious neck injury. Jordan Poyer was a free agent. It was very possible both those guys could have been elsewhere. Now they're still back here in Buffalo again. So he's excited about that. And then I asked him a question about, because of how banged up he was last year, did it make any sense to him that instead of being a 100% snaps guy, would it help at all to go to 90 or 95%? And to be fair, you ask any of these NFL players, would it be better if you played less? They're not going to like that question. But I did find it interesting that he did totally dismiss the idea that playing less would make a difference. Even as he went on in the press conference later to talk about how he could barely get up and down stairs. It was really rough physically for him last year. But, for the question of what the Bills are going to do with Taylor Rapp, one of the main thoughts, and I've had it too, is, well, they're going to use him to give Hyde and Poyer a little bit of a break so they don't put their bodies on the line so much. Well, Jordan Poyer didn't seem to think that's a possibility. So, I don't know what the plan is with Rapp, because I don't think using him elsewhere in the defense makes a lot of sense. And again, also, AJ, just because Jordan Poyer says he's going to play all the snaps doesn't mean he's really going to.
And you talk about how every player wants to play 100% of the time. Granted, it is a little bit different last year because of the defensive line rotation. They always rotate. But Von Miller had a very different answer than what Jordan Poyer gave this year. It sounded like last year they had already given Von Miller the talk of, okay, we're going to ease you along. Like, we're going to, 55, 60%. We want you fourth quarters. We want you December. And it's, like I said, it's different because of the rotation, always with the defensive line. Safeties, they're playing 100%. But it did not sound like Jordan Poyer had gotten the talk, you're going to play 80% of the snaps. It seems like he is, whether it is in his best interest, he is going to try and play 100% of the snaps this year.
All right, let's talk about our turkey burgers for today, our award winners from camp. I'll go first. Easy one for me, Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs, that connection. The 45-yarder was the highlight play, but they've been solid, as you'd expect, through 3 days of camp. So I'm going to give both guys a turkey burger today.
I'm going to give turkey burgers to both of my guys making plays in the one-on-ones, Khalil Shakir, Justin Shorter. And outside of those, I think they were making some good plays across the field. No one's really stood out from the secondary receiver role yet, but good days for them.
You were bringing it up that, normally by about this time in camp, there'd be a camp all-star already.
Yeah,
some guy who's...
There's no Christian Benford. There's no Isaiah Hodgins this year.
George Wilson, for those people go back about 5-10 years.
Eddie Yarbrough.
Yeah, exactly. The guys who are... Now, look, the pads will come on Sunday or Monday. We'll get a few more opportunities to see guys up front to be that potential person, but no one just yet. My last turkey burger, back to Terrell Dotson. He was just that good. Only had 2 reps. But again, in a drill where it's one-on-one coverage, it is really hard to be good defensively, and he smothered both his guys. I don't think either guy was, it wasn't James Cook or Damian Harris. I take that back. I think the first one was Damian Harris. Regardless, 2 great reps. Terrell Dotson gets a turkey burger for me today.
We can give one to Tyler Bass, too. Why not?
Sure.
We're handing out burger. He made a really nice kick, and his coach was very proud of him. Matthew Smiley talked today. He was very proud of Mr. Tyler Bass.
He should be. He's a great kicker. All right, we're done here for day 3 of camp. Next practice for the Bills is Sunday. They are off on Saturday. Myself and Carl Jones will be back here on Buffalo Campday Recap then. For AJ Feldman, I'm Thad Brown. Thanks for watching on RochesterFirst.com or listening wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you again on Sunday.